Today I'm going to tell you 3 small communication stories with 3 uniquely common communication skill takeaways. And when you hear these, I'm sure you'll be able to relate to these stories with your everyday life and use the lessons to better your everyday communication, making it free of miscommunication. So let's hear. Story number 1. Priya was an 8th grader who loved mathematics. Her pain point was that her teacher never explained the logic and always said, "It's a rule, follow it. That's how it is, so learn as it is." But Priya did not like rote learning. So she promised herself that someday she'll become an excellent maths teacher. Her determination was so strong that she did become a maths teacher, and a great one. Her students loved her because she explained complex topics so easily, so smoothly, and made children understand complicated maths concepts really well. Priya was proud of herself. She kept teaching, she kept learning, kept growing. One day, Priya went to teach maths to 5-year-olds. She loved to experiment her teaching. The exercise was simple because, 5-year-olds. So she asked the first child which was his or her favorite fruit, and then she would ask them to add up certain amounts of that fruit. So that was the maths task. It was Summer's turn. And Priya asked, "So Summer, if I give you one pear and another pear and another pear, how many pears will you have in your bag?" Summer replied, 4. Priya was surprised. The answer should have been 3. She tried again. This time, she helped Summer by counting along with him with her fingers. Priya repeated her question. "If I give you one pear and another pear and another pear, and you keep all these in your bag, how many pears will you have, Summer?" Summer said, 4. Priya was upset. What was going on? Then she remembered Summer was also fond of kiwis. So she said, "Summer, if I give you one kiwi and another kiwi and another kiwi to keep, then how many kiwis will you have in your bag?" Summer counted carefully and replied, 3. Priya was delighted. She said, "Wow, I made it." Once again she asked Summer, "Now Summer, tell me, if I give you one pear and another pear and another pear, how many pears will you have in your bag?" Seeing Priya ma'am happy, Summer quickly replied, "Ma'am, 4. Now Priya was annoyed. She said, "How? Tell me how 4? Summer replied, "Because ma'am, I already have one pear in my bag, ma'am." That day, 5-year-old Summer taught his teacher a valuable lesson. Think about it. What was the lesson? Your story number 2. Rita and Ravi were about 5 years into marriage. They didn't have any kids because Rita didn't want any. This had embittered their relation somehow. And one night, Rita and Ravi got into a fight. A real fight. Ravi had seen Rita earlier speaking very sweetly to someone on the phone. Jealousy got the better of him. He didn't like the lock on her phone. He didn't know the password. He accused her of cheating. That's how the fight began. But she didn't bother to share any details. She didn't bother to clarify. So, both argued in high-pitched tones and blamed each other. Neither was listening to the other person. Both were only speaking. Both were hearing only what they wanted to hear. They both heard loud voices, anger, blame game, and so on. Eventually, they stopped talking. It was a silent, cold war. Even while turning the lights off to sleep, not a word was said. He thought she should apologize. She thought he should apologize. But nobody apologized. Now Ravi was a heavy sleeper and he had an early morning flight the next morning. So he wrote on a piece of paper, "Please wake me up at 6 a.m. I have a critical flight to catch." He put the note on Rita's pillow, believing she would surely see it there. And he slept. The next morning, when he woke up, it was past 7:30. He had missed his flight. He was furious. Ravi was about to go down and scream at Rita when he noticed a handwritten note on his nightstand. The note said, "It's 6 a.m. Get up." What communication, wasn't it? So here's your story number 3. Some of you may have heard the story or read the story. It's a very famous story by R.K. Narayan and it's called A Horse and Two Goats. So this is a story about a villager called Muni who had 2 goats. Muni was grazing his 2 goats on the outskirts of the village. And the sun was sharp. So Muni decided, let me sit under this shade of a statue. It was a horse statue made of clay because Muni was feeling hot and he wanted to protect himself from the sun. So there it was, Muni resting. An American driving a wagon, he drove towards Muni and inquired, "Where can I find a gas station?" They started talking. Imagine the talk. Muni didn't know a word of English and the American knew only English. So imagine the talking. Imagine the conversation they would have had. Eventually, there's complete miscommunication between Muni and the American. The American thought Muni is the owner of the horse statue under whose shade Muni was sitting. So the American bought the statue, the horse statue from Muni for 100 rupees. Muni thought the deal is for his goats, that he's sold his 2 goats to the American for 100 rupees. Complete miscommunication. Because Muni always dreamt of selling his goats and starting a shop with the money. So Muni was happy to sell his goats, which the American had never bought. The American was happy to buy the horse statue, which Muni never sold. Now Muni came back home very happy and he told his wife about the deal. "Hey, I've sold the 2 goats, I've got $100. The wife thought, Muni's stolen the money. Who would spend $100 and buy his 2 slim, thin goats? She said, "You've stolen the money from somewhere." She screamed at him. And believe you me, her suspicion got stronger when both the goats returned home that evening. So, there was miscommunication between Muni and the American, and also between Muni and his wife. But more importantly, this story talks about cultural differences between East and West, and it is a story about miscommunication between Muni and the American, between Muni and his wife. So what is the takeaway from these 3 stories? There are 3 takeaways from these 3 stories. So 3 lessons. The first lesson: communicate, communicate, communicate. Without good and effective communication, one can't do justice to any conversation with anyone. The second lesson: there can be miscommunication if you let your pride get in your way. Most miscommunication happens because we start believing what we want to believe. We start hearing what we want to hear. And when the communication lines break, we blame the other person for everything that's going wrong. We forget our role in the situation. When we talk to people, we go with our opinions, our biases, and our perspectives. This is what causes miscommunication. The minute we look at things from the perspective of the person we are talking to, chances of miscommunication are reduced. The third takeaway, and one of the most important takeaway, there can be miscommunication if you're not listening actively. Did I say active listening? What is that? Let me explain. So when you listen actively, you don't just hear, you listen. There is a difference. Active listening has 3 A's. It is made up of 3 A's: attention, attitude, and adjustment. You give attention to the speaker's words, what he's saying, his body language. You keep your attitude open-minded and you stay optimistic. You adjust your reaction, your body language, your words accordingly. More about how to master the 3 A's of active listening another time in yet another podcast. Till then, let's communicate, leave our egos behind, hear what the other person is saying. Listen to what the other person is saying, not imagine hearing what we want him to say. Let's go beyond simply hearing the words that the other person speaks, but try to understand the meaning, the intent behind them. Let us be an active participant in the communication process. So put your cell phone away, ignore distractions, avoid daydreaming, shut down your internal dialogue. Place your focus on whomsoever you're communicating with, and let everything else slip away. Thank you for listening to this episode of Communicate 101 Speaking Writing Tips with Sarika Singh. If you want to be notified of upcoming episodes, be sure to hit the subscribe button and follow the podcast. I'll be back to share more stories, more life experiences, and more communication tips every Friday. If you want to reach me or connect with me, just put your comments in the comment box below or mail me at info@sarikasingh.in. I know you're going to rate and review this podcast, so a big thank you in advance. Stay tuned and think about what we talked today.